Hello, my name's Amy Martin. Welcome to my presentation of Applying Theory to Practice. Today we are looking at an uh-oh moment in strategic communications from our own experience or in the world around us. I can think of no greater communication challenge for organizations than the one we have been facing over the past year with COVID-19. Organizations all over the globe have been tested in ways they would never have imagined at the beginning of the year. We started out the year with plenty of hope. We looked forward to our dreams, goals, and life milestones, whether it was completing a university degree, starting a new job, traveling to a distant locale, or visiting family and friends to celebrate the weddings, births, milestone birthdays, and graduations, events we considered a normal part of our year. Then the worldwide infection of COVID-19 created almost nonstop anxiety, fear, and grief. Our daily lives were turned completely upside down. Today, we will look at a case study of the Dallas Holocaust and Human Rights Museum as it struggled with the COVID-19 pandemic and how Robert Putnam's theories of bonding and bridging capital could be identified in their organization. The Dallas Holocaust and Human Rights Museum has been in existence since the mid-1970s, when local Holocaust survivors started it as a memorial to the 6 million Jews who were murdered in the Holocaust. The new museum opened in September 2019 and included state-of-the-art technology and compelling visual representations of Holocaust history, as well as other museum atrocities all over the world. The museum presents exhibitions of human rights history that are as timely today as they were 50 to 100 years ago. The museum also presents speakers from all human rights and civil rights disciplines, bringing history alive for all of us. There has always been a cohesive sense of mission, and the employee teams who work regularly together on projects and goals already had a great sense of camaraderie and often socialized outside of work. When national awareness of COVID-19 was announced in late February, the museum's leadership took steps to follow CDC guidelines, but it took a while for the pandemic to have a real impact on the city, so many people thought it was overkill. Attitudes towards COVID-19 in North Texas split along party lines. Dallas is a majority blue city, but there is a strong red influence felt throughout the state. Some employees took it very casually at first, since that was the prevailing attitude and culture of the entire state. This led to mistakes being made at the beginning of the pandemic on how to treat employees and customers. As a result of this attitude, there were initially a few COVID-19 cases among the frontline ticketing staff. Layoff rumors began almost immediately. There was a lot of fear among the staff about losing their jobs, particularly among the ticketing staff. The museum CEO had always been somewhat skeptical of remote work before COVID-19. She began her career in public accounting, where employees were expected to work on site at their client locations for long hours with no excuses for not showing up. COVID-19 forced the need to establish remote work, and then she had to go along with it. Many of the staff had young children who were either without daycare or out of school and needing remote learning help from their parents. The fundraising staff, who were hyper aware of the financial goals that needed to be reached for the museum's budget, expressed that they would lose annual donations and interest from regular visitors. That created a big element of fear among the staff. What happened next was a clear example of Robert Putnam's theory of bonding and bridging capital. Let's review Putnam's theories. Bonding capital describes connections within a group of a community. Bonding capital exists between, quote, people like us, end quote, who are in it together and who typically have strong relationships. Examples of that includes our family members, close friends, and neighbors, the people who we turn to when we're in a crisis and to whom we feel very close. In this case, the individual teams, frontline ticketing, development, and education, had strong bonding capital within their own groups, and it was only made stronger through the crisis. Bridging capital is between social groups or community. The distinction led Putnam to suggest that bonding social capital is good for, quote, getting by, end quote, and bridging capital is crucial for, quote, getting ahead, end quote. Putnam described bonding social capital as inward-looking, reinforcing exclusive identities, whereas bridging capital was outward-looking, promoting links between diverse individuals. In this case, the individual teams at the museum, development staff versus education staff, socially bridged to help the museum get ahead. Bridging also took place between the museum as an institution and the community of donors and visitors. Putnam's theories of bonding capital were evidenced almost immediately. A culture of we are all in this together developed across teams, management, and the board. Management exhibited a level of vulnerability and expressed that they did not have all the answers and wanted the staff's help. The CEO embraced remote work when she saw how committed the team was and how much they had wanted to help each other. The employees realized that they had a voice, and there was a greater level of openness between leadership and staff in identifying solutions to running the museum. Frontline staff did lose their jobs during the 5 months the museum was closed, but their supervisor worked with each individual to determine the best solution that allowed them to collect unemployment and retain healthcare benefits. They were later hired back. Managers strongly encouraged team members to use the 5-month closure on professional development when possible. The staff participated in many webinars and shared notes and knowledge with each other. Regarding childcare and at-home school, the managers, some of whom were dealing with this as well, were very flexible about the time their staff was available for calls and meetings. The staff was productive. The work simply happened at all hours of the day and night. They established emergency alerts for all employees about closures and employee COVID-19 cases. The organization also made sure each team met twice weekly, and team leaders held their regular status meetings with staff. The whole staff had a weekly Zoom coffee hour on Friday mornings just to catch up. Informally, the team groups held regular Zoom happy hours to stay personally connected. Putnam's theory of bridging capital was evidenced throughout the museum's community outreach. The museum committed to pause fundraising during the 5 months the museum was closed. They wanted to respect the attitude of donors who were more concerned about supporting basic needs charities like food banks, rent relief, and remote education resources for school children. The teams worked together to keep members and donors engaged. The education staff quickly created a lot of virtual content that was shared through social media free of charge. Members and regular event subscribers were contacted by email about these free programs. The online attendance was strong. Ultimately, the museum ended the fiscal year with a surplus, in part because of lower event expenses. But donors also stepped up and donated as if the fundraisers were live. They were truly engaged, and they believed in the museum's mission, and they wanted to ensure that it survived. In conclusion, Putnam's theories of bonding and bridging capital were at work during the COVID-19 pandemic crisis at the Dallas Holocaust and Human Rights Museum. And of course, this took place at large and small organizations throughout the world. Thank you for watching.